Susan Dey was born on December 10, 1952, in Illinois, growing up with a mix of sensitivity and resilience that would later define her presence on screen. After losing her mother at a young age, she moved to New York with her family, where her father worked as a newspaper editor. That environment quietly shaped her worldview, blending emotional depth with intellectual curiosity. Before acting ever entered her plans, she found early success as a model, appearing in popular teen magazines like 17. Her natural poise and understated beauty caught attention, but more importantly, it hinted at a thoughtful personality behind the camera. These early experiences didn't just prepare her for fame, they grounded her. They gave her a sense of balance that would later help her navigate the unpredictable world of entertainment with a level of calm that set her apart. Breakthrough with the Partridge Family. Everything changed when the Partridge Family came into her life almost unexpectedly. At just 17, with no formal acting experience, she was cast as Lori Partridge, stepping into a role that would make her a household name. Her performance felt natural, never forced, which made audiences instantly connect with her. Alongside David Cassidy, who played her on-screen brother, the show became a cultural phenomenon. Their chemistry added a special charm that fans loved, even if it was rooted more in professionalism than personal closeness. For Susan, the sudden rise to fame was both exciting and overwhelming. She handled it with quiet dignity, choosing not to be swept away by the spotlight. Instead, she stayed grounded, focusing on her work while the world around her turned her into an icon of 1970s television, growing beyond a teen idol image. After the show ended in 1974, Susan faced a challenge many young stars encounter, moving beyond the image that made them famous. She was determined not to remain confined to the role of a teen idol. Taking on more serious and emotionally complex projects, she began reshaping her career with intention. One of her standout performances came in Mary Jane Harper Cried Last Night, where she portrayed a young woman struggling with mental health challenges. The role surprised critics and audiences alike, proving she had depth far beyond her earlier image. Throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, she continued choosing projects that pushed her limits. Each performance added a new layer to her reputation, slowly transforming her into a respected actress who could handle difficult, meaningful roles with honesty and grace. Career peak with L.A. Law. Susan's career reached a defining moment with L.A. Law, where she played Grace Van Owen. The role allowed her to fully step into a character that was intelligent, composed, and quietly powerful. As a prosecutor who later became a judge, she brought authenticity and strength to the screen. Her performance earned her a Golden Globe Award, along with multiple Emmy nominations. More than just personal success, her role helped shift how professional women were portrayed on television. She wasn't just playing a character, she was part of a larger cultural shift toward more realistic and layered female roles. Her work during this period solidified her place as one of television's most respected actresses, showing that her career was built on talent, not just early fame. Exploring comedy and new challenges. In the early 1990s, Susan explored new directions, including hosting Saturday Night Live. It was a bold step into live comedy, something very different from her dramatic background. She approached it with professionalism and a willingness to adapt, showing a lighter side of her personality. Around the same time, she joined the sitcom Love and War, aiming to balance humor with her signature elegance. While the show had potential, it faced creative challenges, and she eventually exited the series. Even so, she handled the situation gracefully without public conflict. This period reflected her openness to growth and experimentation. She wasn't afraid to step outside her comfort zone, even when the results were uncertain, and that willingness became a defining trait of her career. Taking on meaningful and difficult roles, rather than stepping back after setbacks, Susan leaned into projects that carried emotional and social weight. In Lies and Lullabies, she portrayed a woman struggling with addiction during pregnancy, a role that required vulnerability and sensitivity. Her performance was praised for its honesty and depth, showing her commitment to telling meaningful stories. She moved away from glamour, focusing instead on authenticity and emotional truth. This phase of her career highlighted her desire to use acting as a way to explore real human experiences rather than just entertain. It also reinforced her reputation as an actress willing to take risks, choosing roles that mattered over those that were simply comfortable or commercially safe. Personal life and finding balance. Behind the scenes, Susan's personal life reflected her search for stability. Her first marriage to Leonard Hershen brought both support and challenges, eventually ending in divorce. Through it all, her role as a mother remained central, shaping her priorities and decisions. Later, she found lasting companionship with Bernard Sofransky, building a quieter and more private life away from constant public attention. Unlike many in the industry, she chose to step back from the spotlight over time, valuing peace and family over fame. This decision wasn't about leaving success behind, it was about redefining what success meant to her. Her life became more balanced, rooted in personal fulfillment rather than public recognition. Reflecting on David Cassidy in the past years later, Susan opened up about her connection with David Cassidy, offering a perspective shaped by time and understanding. She spoke about their early friendship and admitted to having a youthful crush, something natural given their age and circumstances. However, the pressures of fame and differing experiences created emotional distance between them. What once felt like hurt gradually softened into empathy. She came to recognize that they were both navigating an overwhelming world at a young age. Her reflections were not about blame, but about understanding. They revealed how time can change perspective, turning past confusion into clarity and acceptance, lessons, regret, and moving forward. Looking back, Susan expressed a quiet regret that she and Cassidy never fully reconnected before his passing. It wasn't about unresolved conflict, but about missed chances for closure and understanding. Her honesty in sharing this adds a deeply human element to her story. It reminds us that even in lives touched by fame, emotions remain real and often complicated. Over time, she chose reflection over resentment, allowing herself to make peace with the past. Her story shows how growth often comes from revisiting old experiences with a more compassionate perspective. It's a reminder that closure doesn't always come through conversation, it can also come through acceptance. And a life defined by grace and perspective. Today, Susan Day's story stands as one of quiet strength, resilience, and thoughtful reflection. Her journey through fame, personal challenges, and emotional growth reflects a life lived with intention. Rather than being defined by a single role or relationship, she has shaped her legacy through choices that prioritized authenticity and dignity. Her reflections on the past, including her connection with David Cassidy, are not about revisiting old drama, but about understanding the complexities of youth and fame. In the end, her story is not one of scandal, but of growth, of learning, forgiving, and moving forward. It's a reminder that behind every public figure is a deeply human story, shaped by experience, memory, and the passage of time.